Hello and welcome to Top the Ninth. Today we are looking at the top 9 home run hitters of the 2000s as we look at the players who hit the most home runs from 2000 to 2009. Please feel free to subscribe, like, and follow. Starting off the list at 9 is former Astros outfielder Lance Berkman. With the 2000 being his rookie year, during the 2000s, Berkman mashed 309 home runs in his second all-time in Astros history behind only Jeff Bagwell. A consistent slugger who hit at least 20 home runs each year in this decade. His best slugging years were 2002 when he hit 42 home runs and finished third in MVP, and 06 when he hit 45 home runs and finished third in MVP again. Better known for his later career due to his postseasons, he was traded to the Yankees in 2010 to try to help them repeat as champs, and 2011 when he joined the Cardinals and helped them win the World Series. He is known for scoring the tying run on the iconic game-tying triple by David Freese in the World Series Game 6. Often forgotten is his Astros year where he helped lead them to the 05 World Series, and he started off at number 9. Next, we have the 2004 MVP Vlad Guerrero Sr. Over the course of the 2000s, he mashed 315 dingers for the Expos and the Angels. One of the best all-around players during this decade. I could watch his highlights of him throwing out runners for hours. He was a 6-time top 10 MVP finisher in the AL during this decade, as he hit over 30 home runs a season 6 times also. His best year were 44 home runs in 2000 and 39 in his MVP year in 04. He is second all-time in National/Expos histories in home runs, only behind Ryan Zimmerman. Over his 16-year career, he is 41st all-time in home runs with 449. At 7 is Adam Dunn, who is the first notable player to be associated with the true outcomes of baseball. In his 13 seasons, he was top 5 in strikeouts 12 of those years, top 10 in walks 10 years, and top 10 in home runs 9 times. Dunn was one of my favorite players growing up, as I remember going to a local 7-Eleven and getting a drumstick ice cream bar just because they had a picture of him on the wrapper. In the decade, he played 7 full seasons due to him being in the minors in 2000s and getting called up in the second half of 2001, missing 2/3 of the 08 season. He still managed 7th due to his slugging powers and him hitting 40 home runs or more for 5 straight years, as he finished with 316 home runs in the 2000s. Number 6 is the all-time home run king Barry Bonds. Despite not playing in the last 2 years of the decade due to retirement and missing basically all of 05 due to injury, the greatest slugger ever still finished 6th as he hit 317 of his 762 home runs during this time. Most notably during this decade, he had his 73 home run season, and during the stretch from 2000 to 2004, he won 4 MVPs in 5 years, averaged 52 home runs a season, a 339 average, and an OPS plus of 241, which means he was basically 2.5 times more valuable than the average baseball hitter. I could go on and talk about Bonds all day, but he showed his greatness and finished the 2000s with 317 home runs. Starting the top 5 off is a player many have forgotten about over time in Carlos Delgado. Over a 17-year career, he only made 2 All-Star appearances and had 3 top 10 MVP finishes. He was overlooked due to playing on some underwhelming Toronto teams of the 90s, as he only made the playoffs once in his whole career in 2006 with the Mets at age 34, when they lost the NLCS to the Cardinals and rookie Adam Wainwright. During the 2000s, the Blue Jays' all-time home run leader hit 324 home runs in 8 full seasons during this decade, as he hit 32 home runs or more each season but 3. He is 34th all-time in home runs and is one of 27 players in MLB history with 450 career doubles and home runs, and is arguably the best slugger lost in time due to the steroid era. Number 4 is 2-time World Series champ Manny Ramirez. Him and David Ortiz helped break the Red Sox World Series curse, had one of the greatest peaks during this time as he finished top 9 in MVP 8 years in a row from 1998 to 2005. In the 2000s, he hit 33 home runs or more 8 times to finish with 348 in total. In his whole career, he hit 555 home runs in 18 years to sit 15th all time. His accomplishments will always be clouded by steroid use, as he was suspended in '09 and was on the list of users in 2003 before they were testing for PEDs. Manny Ramirez led the league in home runs in 2004 with 43, as the Red Sox won the World Series that year, and the next year he hit 45 to go down as one of the top sluggers of the 2000s. Track off the top 30, we have Albert Pujols. After missing the first season of the decade due to him being 20 and in the minors, he cracked off his big league career as good as anyone other than maybe Joe DiMaggio and Mike Trout. In his first 11 seasons, all with the St. Louis Cardinals, he was top 5 in MVP every year but one, and from 2000 to 2009 he averaged 41 home runs, 43 doubles, and a .334 average for the St. Louis Cardinals, as he cemented himself as the top first baseman in the game and won a World Series in '06 during that span. In total, he hit 348 home runs in this decade and is 4th all-time in home runs with 703. Second place is Jim Thome, who is Cleveland's all-time home run leader, part of some great Indian teams in the 90s featuring Manny Ramirez, Kenny Lofton, and Omar Vizquel. In the 2000s, he's remained as consistent as ever, as he's bounced from the Indians to the Phillies, White Sox, and Dodgers. He started off the decade as strong as anyone, as in 2000 to 2003, he hit a combined 148 home runs in those 3 seasons. From 2000 to '09, he averaged 137 games a year and 37 home runs each of those years to finish 368 home runs during his whole decade. What was most impressive about this is in 2000 he was already 29, so from 29 to 38, when most people are slowing down, he did all this damage without any steroids. This was rewarded with him making the Hall of Fame and is 8th all-time in the home run list with 612, one of 9 people ever to hit over 600 home runs. Finishing off the list in number 1 is Alex Rodriguez, who hit 435 home runs in this decade, which is 67 more than second place Jim Thome. A-Rod was the poster boy of baseball during this decade, along with Derek Jeter, winning 3 MVPs, a World Series, signing the first $200 million contract in baseball, getting traded to the Yankees to play with Jeter, and switching positions all in this 10-year span. 5th all-time with 696 home runs. In the 2000s, he stayed as healthy as anyone, averaging 152 games a year with 44 home runs and a .304 average for each of those years to help him put him as the number 1 home run hitter of the 2000s. Later, he would get busted for PEDs twice, which so far has kept him out of the Hall of Fame, but never tested positive during the 2000s and was crowned the best player in baseball, along with Albert Pujols during the whole 2000s.